I want to talk to you about what you guys worked on yesterday, well, late Sunday night as well, but obviously we're learning more. That crash in Vermilion Parish involving those two students from North Vermilion High School. We know a vigil is set for today, but now kind of all eyes are on this guy, this 20-year-old who appears to have been impaired, tried to leave the scene before authorities caught up to him, and this guy wasn't 21. Is there any legal repercussions for the person who provided alcohol for him before this deadly crash?
Well, that'll also be part of the investigation, to find out where this young man was coming from, where he was going. You're not allowed to purchase, possess, or consume alcohol under the age of 21. So that would be obviously a red flag that troopers were looking at, that are investigating the crash to see where he found or purchased that alcohol or if anybody gave it to him, and exactly what's in his system. Whenever we say impaired, it doesn't always necessarily mean alcohol. So, they're going to wait for that toxicology result to come back from Baton Rouge to see everything that is inside of his system. If it's alcohol, they will proceed with that. Any type of other prescribed medications or over-the-counter medicines or anything that would cause a person to do something like that, they'll look into. So it's going to be an active investigation for a while. And unfortunately, it's one of those crashes that was 100% preventable. We see that throughout, day in and day out throughout our state. What makes it worse is it's our community, where my kids go to school, knowing the parents on both sides. Just makes it a little bit harder. But, it shows us that no matter who you are, or where you're from, or what school you go to, or what kind of vehicle you drive, if you make bad choices, those choices will come back and bite you. Maybe not today or tomorrow, but one day they will. And unfortunately, we have two young girls who lost their lives, two young men that'll be recovering from injuries for a while, families that'll be suffering with the loss of their children. A young man in jail, his family also has to deal with the consequences of his choices. So it not only affects those people that were part of that crash, but it affects the whole school of North Vermilion High, the community of Maurice, even the middle school of kids who went to school with these young children before. So we ask parents, you never want to use a person's or people's death to teach something, but this is such a teachable moment for our young children in the Maurice area and in school, to show them what happens whenever you get behind the wheel of a vehicle and you make bad choices. You lose two great friends. You lose two people in the community. You lose one of your friends to jail, and the parents have to go on now. That was scene one the other night at the crash scene. In that tonight will be scene two, and then the funeral will be scene three, and then for that it stops for people. But that movie continues on forever with no ending for the parents and the friends of the two young ladies who passed away. So we ask that people continue, make your smart choices, have that plan in place. By no means are we saying you're not allowed to drink. But do not get behind the wheel of a vehicle if you're over 21 and you have alcohol in your system, or anything that can impair you, because we see the consequences now this week of what all the kids and the parents have to go through every day.
What do you see? Obviously, we have had kids their ages killed in car accidents involving alcohol in the past. When you look at the community, North Vermilion High community, do you see that is there an increased awareness about this? When I was a senior in high school, over the course of the last 3 years of high school, 7 people from our class were killed in alcohol-involved car accidents. Do you see that it's a wake-up call, or is it short-lived?
Well, we always would hope that any crash involving fatalities and alcohol would be a wake-up call. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, what we do see, though, is it lasts for a very short period of time, and people go on about their daily lives, which they should. However, you're talking about an impaired driver that took the life of two young girls that will no longer, have birthday parties, won't be able to go to their homecoming, their prom. Their mothers and fathers will never see their grandchildren or never witness a wedding or college. We look at that as police officers and parents, and that's just devastating to us. But for some reason, people who continue to drive while they're impaired, it has no effect on them. So you see the people with multiple DWI, people who have already killed people before in an impaired driving crash, out on the road again drinking. So it's up to these men and women that do this to get their head on straight and stop being selfish and get the help that you need if you need it. Or if it's something that's just recreational use, stop it. Because I can promise you the feeling I had that night sitting in that mother's living room is not a good feeling, and nobody ever wants to have to deliver news that somebody's loved one's not coming home, especially whenever it's a teenager in high school. That is something we never want to do. And if they can witness that firsthand of a police officer, whether it's a trooper, it doesn't matter, having to deliver that news to a parent, they would stop immediately getting behind the wheel of a vehicle impaired.
Yeah, we'd like you to never have to have those type conversations ever again. As we reach to Mardi Gras season, and we're wrapping up with Trooper Brooks David from Louisiana State Police, some tips for Mardi Gras. People are going to be out and about, spending a lot of time on parade routes, having to drive there, getting behind the wheel, likely after. Give you these last few minutes. What do you have to tell people?
Well, just make smart choices. Be adults. Driving in the state of Louisiana is a privilege. It's not a right. That privilege can be taken from you at any minute. Be smart. Be prepared. If you're going as a couple or married couple, whatever it is, just agree that one might have a few drinks and the other one's going to be driving sober. Your kids look at you and they're going to reflect what you do. So if they see you drinking and driving, going to a parade, whatever it might be, just know one day that they're going to be doing the same thing that you're teaching them. As far as for security, make sure you bring as least as possible on the parade route. Make sure you have your ID, but keep personals, out of view, personal items out of view, whether it's in your car or in your purse. Don't leave anything unattended. And please don't leave your children unattended on the parade route. Just because there's barricades, we don't have police that are 2 feet apart from one another that can stop anything that occurs. So watch your children, be safe, have fun, and make sure that you're able to get home safely and your family's able to get home safely, and we don't witness another devastating crash as we did at the beginning of the week.
Trooper Brooks David, appreciate your time.